Awaken to hair growth. Awaken to hair growth because there is possibility to get your hair back. Awaken to hair growth because we're not told that we're able to conquer and overcome alopecia. Awaken to hair growth because I want to be a positive light and beacon for you because I've healed my alopecia and now I help others do the same with different types of alopecia, men, women, children of all ages, of all races and ethnicities. Hello and welcome back to the Alopecia Angel podcast. I'm your host, Johanna Dahlman. Today we have a fascinating conversation and interview with Louise Danielle out of the UK. She is a manifestation expert, and I'm so happy to share this conversation that we had because she is so brilliant, in-depth, knowledgeable, and gives you the other side of manifestation. She also talks about the hiccups that people go through, what we're able to do and not do, how this all starts, and what we are truly capable of. The other side of this is that she does share the science. So whether you believe in it or not, she shows you the proof and so much more. I hope you really enjoy this podcast. It's been a beautiful 3-part series of manifestation that I wanted to dive into just because I've seen it work in my life, but I've also known of others and I see it work in their life too. And I know that there's something to it for sure. The other thing I wanted to mention is that I'm just coming back from the biohacking conference and it was absolutely epic. I can't wait to show and share much more of the details and of the speaking engagement that I had there. And the other thing, and lastly, but definitely not last, is that I would want to ask you if you wouldn't mind taking a few minutes of your day to rate and review this podcast. We are self-funded and I love providing content to you. I love providing content to everyone who listens to me and downloads the podcast, but also to everyone on YouTube. This is so important to get inspiration out there from people who have healed their hair loss, various types of hair loss and alopecia, but then also spreading the word. Because the thing is, when we look to really healing ourselves, it is a tailored approach. This is why I believe I've seen the success that I have because I tailor it to each person. It's not a one size fits all. So if you can do me a favor and rate and review so more people could have access and be brought up and know about this, that would be great. Thank you so much. Here's that interview with Louise Danielle. Hi, Louise. How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing good. So my question to you is, do you think that someone can heal themselves with manifestation?
It's like when you recognize how our experience of reality works. Every thought we think, every word we speak is a powerful act of creation. And that creation has a vibration that creates an energetic resonance. There is so much that we don't know about who we are and the power that we have. So sometimes on my training, like my physical trainings with corporates, I'll ask people in the room, right, describe physicality of somebody who is stressed or somebody who is depressed. And you can see people doing, like, they'll physically move their body or hold tension in their shoulders. And it's like, we don't realize that we are always consciously co-creating and everything is like an energetic imprint. The fact that our body heals itself, we see that on the outside. However, we treat the things that we cannot see as something that we don't understand. And it's like when you get to recognize that it's all one and the same, that we are the co-creators, that we get to, we're never not creating. It's absolutely possible for us to do that. Fortunately, I haven't personally experienced that from a physical health perspective. Although I say that there are certain physical things when I experience them in my body, I will know, particularly like sore throats and my voice, like I'll know what it is that's going on to create that. However, back in the early days, I was diagnosed bipolar. I had a lot of diagnoses years ago. I have not had any need for professional intervention or anything. Like, I've healed my own depression, anxiety, PTSD, all of that through this work. That's partly what led me on this journey, because I saw the power of my own transformation. There isn't anything that we cannot do. The only limitation is the one that we create within our own mind.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. You're speaking my language. So tell me about these limitations that people put on themselves. I talk a lot about limiting beliefs, but sometimes, you don't want to hear it from mom. You want to hear it from somebody else. So
yeah. It's interesting. I had partly a few years ago now, I had another, like, an identity shift when it came to doing this work. I was actually due to deliver an 8-week training that was all focused around how to overcome your fears and your limiting beliefs. The weekend before that was due to start, I had women signed up to it. And I had this epiphany. There was something that I just couldn't figure out. I just couldn't put my finger on. I'm like, there's something missing here. And I had this insight and epiphany where it was like, oh, it's all thought created. Every single thing that we experience in our life is thought created. Now, I thought I understood that as in, if we think about something so many times, then we'll manifest it. But I actually had a moment where I saw that limiting beliefs, fears, and doubts, every single one of them is a thought created experience that looks and feels so real to us. And I work with a lot of people who are stuck in the personal development world for years trying to fix and change themselves and fix and change their limiting beliefs because they believe that there's something wrong with them and they're broken. And they don't see that actually the limiting beliefs that we have, those too are thought created. And so rather than needing to spend all of your time trying to overcome every single limiting belief that you think that you have, the power is in actually seeing the illusion of these limitations in order to be able to transcend and shift our experience so that we're not having to think, what is my next belief? Because, there was a period of time in my life where I spent all of my time trying to journal my way and fix and change my thinking and fix and change myself and shift my beliefs, not realizing that that was creating an unconscious idea that who I am foundationally is broken and I need fixing. And these beliefs are the things that are stopping me. Whereas actually, when we see that, yes, we all do have different beliefs, but those too are thought created and they have no power other than that which you give them. It's like you get to transcend and create as opposed to being stuck in this loop of needing to fix and change my beliefs.
So good. So what would you say to somebody, like in my case, all our listeners are dealing with hair loss. My clients all have alopecia of some sort, of some variation, either for them or a loved one or their child. What would you say would be the couple first steps in terms of manifesting their healing, in terms of getting on the right path towards eliminating the limiting beliefs, eliminating the negative self-talk, eliminating the noise?
Yeah, great question. For me, it always comes back to the foundation for everything I do is seeing that we are already whole and complete, that you are absolutely perfect exactly the way that you are, that you are not broken, that you don't need fixing. Oftentimes, I find that people can start on a manifestation journey wanting to create change, and that comes from this foundation belief that I am not enough, I am not worthy, I am broken. And actually, when we can see the truth that who you are right now is a precious gift of creation. It's like the odds of you even being here, 200 trillion to 1. Sometimes we skip that and we go to I need to fix me because I'm broken or I'm not enough. When you can sit and you can see the magic of yourself and be in true presence with who it is that you really are and find that gift of everything that you're searching for is already within you. I know that can sometimes sound hard, especially when we're facing challenges, but there's this physical thing that I'm actually experiencing, so I'm not okay. It's like the more we start to see how life is a thought created experience of reality and a thought created illusion, and we go back to that heart space and really being with ourselves and finding the magic and beauty within the path of manifestation, and then it being something that we need to seek and chase and search because we don't already have it, becomes a powerful act of presence and magic and beauty of I already am. And that's the place of power. So I would say absolutely that's the place where we start from, is recognizing the magic and the beauty of the wholeness of who you truly are in this moment and who you always are.
Well said. In many ways, I think that going through hair loss, even the extreme hair loss, when you lose all the hair on your body or when you're alopecia totalis or universalis, I still feel that people are perfect, as you say, but at the same time that the hair, it's just like it's raining outside, but the rain will stop and the sun will come out. And I feel that's the same way when it comes to alopecia, when it comes to disease, when it comes to anything else, that it's a circumstance currently. It's not who you are. It's not defining you. It's just a circumstance, and it will and can change, and it will and can evolve, and it will and can heal and reverse. I truly believe that. I mean, I've done it in myself and in so many others that now it's just like, waking up in the morning and knowing that the sun's going to come out, because it will, whether there's clouds or not, but the sun will come out. How do you feel? What do you say to people who don't believe in manifestation and think that there's no science behind it? Because let's geek out for a little bit and let's go into that.
Yeah, I love that. And so, it doesn't matter whether you believe in it or not, you are never not creating your experience of reality. So, putting that aside, it's like it's always happening. We're always seeing pictures, we're always hearing sounds, we're always experiencing something. That is the act of creation. And I think sometimes the word manifestation, like I understand why some people think it is, woo or whatever, because, sometimes it can be perceived in that way. But when you actually look at the science of it, every thought that you think creates a chemical reaction in your body. That chemical reaction creates a feeling. The feeling that you have, the feeling that you're in that moment sends signals up to your brain to produce more thoughts of the same feeling. And so we constantly live in this thought, feeling, reaction. We don't see life as it is. We see life as we think it is. A great example I love to use. So for anyone who drives a car, whenever you go to buy a new car or you're thinking of buying a new car, it's like you'll focus on a certain car that you want. And then all of a sudden, you'll start to see those cars everywhere. And it's like there was the same amount of cars there before, but all of a sudden now you're witnessing more of those cars, you're seeing more of those cars. And the reason being is because we have something called the reticular activating system, which filters and tells us what it is that we need to focus on, what it is that's important to us. And we notice more of the same. And so again, it's like taking out the word manifestation. Like I love to use the word conscious creation, because I think sometimes it's like the word manifestation, people have different ideas attached to it. It's like the word God. If you say God to 10 different people and you ask them what that means, you'll get 10 different reactions. But the truth of the matter is we are creation. Everything is creation. If you looked outside of your window and you took a time-lapse video, you would see constant change and constant movement and constant growth and death and birth. There is constant change and creation and movement always happening. That is a fact. And when you think of manifestation, it's learn how to consciously direct where your focus and attention is going to go in order to create the outcome that you want. Because we live in a world where our focus is pulled from the minute we wake up. We're getting emails or news or kids. Everything is pulling our attention. And unless we consciously direct where that focus goes, something else is going to do it for us. So the art of conscious creation and manifestation is intentionally becoming aware of the power that you are and then choosing to direct that focus towards what it is that you want to create.
Wow. So what are some of the hiccups that you see people going through when they're trying to manifest something? Let's say they want to manifest, a job promotion or, next level income or maybe a baby or maybe, something big. What are some of the hiccups that you see that can be easily fixed?
So one of the biggest things I see people stuck in is they don't realize when they're trying to create, they're going to problem solving mode as opposed to creation mode. What I mean by that is often people are like, I don't have the job I want. And so what do I need to do to go and get the job I want? What are the things that I need to read? And they focus on the absence of the thing that they want and spend their time trying to constantly problem solve. As opposed to creation mode is, what is it that I would love to create? When I have that thing, how will I feel? What will it mean? Who would I be? And then we operate from the end result as if we already have that. We never have anything more than our experience of it. Every single thing that we have, whether it's money, whether it's success, whether it's a career, whether it's a relationship, we have it through our experience. The experience of having that thing doesn't come from the thing. It comes from our internal creation and the meaning that we're giving that thing. And so if our attention is constantly on, I don't have that thing, I don't have that thing, then we're going to see more of that same result. As opposed to, we can purposefully switch into, what do I feel this will give me when I have it? What are the feelings of already being that, of already having that? And how do I cultivate that and keep that alive within me as much as I possibly can? I find this a lot as well with affirmations. A lot of people use affirmations to affirm that they want to have a thing that they don't already have. I like to use the term declarations as opposed to affirmations, because affirmation is about affirming that we're going to get or have a thing that we don't, which again reinforces the idea, I don't have this thing, I don't have this thing, I'm absent from it. As opposed to a declaration is a moment in present time where we consciously bring into our experience of reality the whole embodied feeling of the end result of what it is we want. And we declare just in that moment, here and now, as powerfully as we can, I am success, or I am healthy, I am abundant, and really truly feel that and bringing it to life and then releasing it and let it go. As opposed to spending all of our time going, oh, I need to affirm I have this, I need to, this chase kind of energy. It's a difference between power versus force. When we can be in the power of the end result, as opposed to trying to force this thing into our experience while unconsciously reinforcing that we don't have it, that's a very, very different space to be in, and something that we can easily quickly do. And I would say another really powerful shift is in our identity, is looking at, when it comes to the thing that I want, do I see myself as a sick person who's trying to get healthy? Or do I see myself as a healthy person who is abundantly experiencing more and more health? Those couple of things there are the foundation to so much.
So would you say that if someone is going through hair loss at this point and, they're listening to this podcast, they've been told by numerous doctors that there's no cure, that they can't heal. They've done numerous tests. They've been ping-ponged around the healthcare system, multiple healthcare systems, and still there's no solution. And then, of course, they find me and they're like, how is this lady finding all this solution? And they're skeptical and they're doubting themselves, and they're doubting that it will work for them. And they're doubting that their innate birthright of growing hair is not possible. Now, what would you say to somebody like this, and how would you help them?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the first thing is and this is the thing, it's like when it comes to doctors and people that we give our power to, there's the idea that, they have more power over us than we do. And so their word must be God's word. And that is an act of creation in itself. I would say the beginning place is to look at what if, is just to begin to question, like come at it from the place of curiosity. When we look at children, they're so curious and they're so open. And in order to create change, there needs to be not so much an element of strong belief, but the initial phase is just get curious and ask, what if? What if that were possible? Those kind of questions can gently lead somebody into opening that door of light, because we have an idea of what is true, what is fact, and what is truth. And, if one person is an exception to the rule, then that rule isn't truth. And so it's like, when we start to allow ourselves to be curious, that's the first little foot in the door of just asking that question, what if? And being gentle with yourself as well, as opposed to thinking, oh, well, I believe this is never going to work for me. Like, there's a lot of judgment that can sometimes come with creation. And actually, judgment comes from that old unconscious identity, the idea of who I am isn't enough, who I am isn't a beautiful, abundant gift, and I need to fix and change myself. So again, it's like bringing it back to just beginning to be curious, because we open the door a little bit to let that little bit of light shine in, and that starts us on a path and a journey of possible change and transformation.
That is so beautifully said. Thank you. Thank you. Finalizing our conversation, what would you say are the 3 biggest takeaways that you could offer our listeners?
So the first one is change is a constant. And I think when we can start to see that, putting manifestation aside, we only have to look at nature to see that change is a constant. With every new second, with every new minute comes a brand new experience. As our thought changes, so does our experience of reality. So does our experience of self. Even those people who doubt themselves and don't believe that they have what it takes, there are times where they have a moment where they feel good about themselves. There are times where they have a moment where they feel possibility. And so when you're aware that change is always constant, that allows you to get curious, which is what we were just talking about, to come at things with curiosity and begin to ask those questions of what if? What if it were possible? How would I feel then? What if it were possible for me? What might I do then? What if it were possible? And we begin to get curious, which then opens the door to seeing, playing with this gift of creation, to going, what if I put this image in my mind, or created this feeling in my body, or began to get curious about the words I'm using to speak myself into creation and how I see my hair loss? What if I was just to start playing with that? So I would say number 1 is to recognize change is a constant, nothing is fixed, and therefore everything is possible. Number 2, get curious, because that opens the door for new possibilities. And then when you begin to get curious, number 3 is start playing with that curiosity and recognizing, when I speak this, I feel like this. And just beginning to notice how you are consciously and unconsciously continually creating yourself and your experience of reality.
Wow, wow. Thank you, Louise. That has been such a wonderful, in-depth, insightful journey into manifestation, a quick snapshot of to what's possible because everything is possible. And I truly believe that too. I feel like we are all limitless, but we're not living to our full potential. And it's because we're giving away our power to doctors. We're giving away our power to so many people, to so many naysayers, to friends and family who try to support us, but potentially are actually holding us back and so much more. And our full potential is like right there. And sometimes we just don't know how to grasp it and, detach ourselves from everything else. And that's a huge one. I mean, for society and in general.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing your wisdom, sharing your experience and your knowledge. It's beautifully captured here in this podcast for our listeners. So I'm really, really grateful for you and your time.
Thank you. It's been absolutely lovely. I've really enjoyed it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening to the Alopecia Angel podcast, a positive light in healing alopecia. You can do this and we can help. Spread the word that reversing alopecia is possible by telling your friends and family.